So every now and again, somebody asked me, if you could get rid of every other piece in your collection and just keep one, what would it be? Well, it's pretty easy. And it's this guy, the life-size T800 from Terminator 2 by Sideshow Collectibles and Legacy FX. Now, I'm not particularly tall, I'm only 5'10", so I'm a little bit disappointed. As you can see, he's quite a bit shorter than me. So I was kind of disappointed by that. Just kidding. Yeah, this is how he actually looks stood next to me. I'm 5'10". I measured him, and from the base to the top of his head, he's actually not as tall as what you think. He came in at 5'10", so the same height as me. However, there is a bit of a bend in his legs. So if he was stood straight up, it'd probably be about 5'11" to 6 foot, that kind of mark, which would be about right. The base, I measured that earlier, that from the ground to just underneath his foot is 10 inches. So in total he is almost 7 foot, there or thereabouts. Arguably one of the most iconic movie characters ever. The engineering is just absolutely incredible in this thing. All the pistons, the cables in there. This thing was quite an ordeal to assemble. He came in several boxes. Took me about 4.5 hours, something like that, to put together. It comes in many pieces, so it comes as the base, which you can see it's gorgeous. It's got all this rock feature, this broken up rubble, with all these broken human skulls. They're all life-size skulls, and they just look fantastic. Rubble with rebar coming out there. And there's actually a power cable on the base, and there's a toggle switch, so you can have him lit up like this. As you can see, his eyes light up red. With the camera doesn't pick up just how red they are. It's a little bit strange. I've noticed this on other people's videos. It tends to come across as kind of orangey. Take it from me, they don't look orangey. They look like a deep red, just like they do in the movie. And then, as you can see on the base, there are these blue lights. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue lights. And you can either have them as a solid blue light, which is awesome. It kind of lights up the bottom, his legs and his chassis there. Or you can have them strobing, and there's a toggle switch. And you can have them strobing like the idea is the future plasma rifle lasers, and it just gives an awesome effect, especially at night. So that's the base, and then his lower legs are each separate pieces from his knee down to his feet. So they're the first bits that go in, and then his upper legs here and his pelvic bone, they're all one piece, and they slot into these legs, and then you just basically put a rod in there and then screw it in so it's nice and stable. So the top of his body just slots onto the pelvic area, and then there's these pistons that go in separately. Each arm is one piece, so the gun does not come away from the arm. It's just the arm and the plasma rifle. That arm does not bend, it's very fixed. And this arm does not bend either. This is its own piece that just kind of slots in there to the shoulder socket. And then there's all these different cables. They're all separate, and you have to kind of attach them at the shoulder here. And then you have to actually slide them into the chassis. So Sideshow did, I believe, 2 different types of statue, a version 1 and a version 2. They did this with the 1 plasma rifle, and then they did another one with 2 plasma rifles, 1 in each arm. Both have the merits. With version 2, the one with the 2 plasma rifles, you can have them at different angles, and that's pretty neat. And I think there is a little bit of articulation in the head in that one, so you can kind of move it a little bit more than this. This is a little bit more rigid. And also with version 2, the difference is the lights are not embedded in the base like they are here. You get like a light bar that wraps around the base, and it's its own separate thing. I believe those are the main differences between the two. Who knows? If I get rich one day, I might get the second one, because I think that looks super awesome, like 1 in each corner of the room. That'd be so cool. And then with this guy, I think there were 2 versions of this guy as well. There was a clean version and a battle damage version. As you can see, this guy has got all these kind of like blast marks, as though he's been hit by the plasma rifle fire. So there's blast marks here, blast marks on his head, on his torso here, on his knee. I kind of like that because this thing is obviously well worn. He's been through the wars here. He's been through a battle, and if he was totally clean, that would look awesome too. But any kind of imperfections would really show. If it was really shiny and like brand new, like he's straight out of the factory, straight off the assembly line, I think any imperfections would be more noticeable, whereas you can get away with a bit more with the battle damage version. Not that I've noticed any imperfections anyway. This thing is just gorgeous. Love this thing so much. So if you're ever lucky enough to get hold of one of these, you're going to need some help putting it together. The guy that I bought this from was actually somebody local. So I really looked out there. He gave me this for 5,000 Canadian dollars, which is an absolute steal. And he came round and he helped me put this thing together, and it still took us 4.5 hours to put together. So yeah, you're going to need some help with this one. It's definitely at least a 2-person job. So thank goodness I didn't have to pay for shipping on this thing, because the boxes, there's several of them. I think there's 5 or 6 boxes, and they are gigantic and ridiculously heavy. I think the price of shipping would be almost as much as the cost of the statue. And then the day that this guy landed, I couldn't have been happier. I'd sit down. This is in my dining room area, and I'd just sit down. I'd come in from work, sit down, and just stare at this thing and mess around with the lights and look at it doing its different things, flashing, non-flashing, and I'd just stare at it. Just crack a beer and stare at this thing, because it's the ultimate Terminator collectible, in my opinion. If you're a Terminator fan and you're gonna have any one piece in your collection, this to me is what you want. So yeah, if I had to get rid of all of my collection and just keep the one piece, this is the guy. So the wife was like really shocked when she saw this fully erected. Is that the word? I don't know. And she too would just stare at it, and I don't think she knew what to make of it. I don't know whether she liked it, or she was just in total shock that it was here. But it's definitely an eye-catching piece, as you can tell. Whenever anybody comes into the house, their eyes are instantly drawn to this thing, and it's the centerpiece of any collection. We've had friends, family, and just random contractors come into the house to do various bits of work, and absolutely everybody wants a selfie with this thing. So because it's the centerpiece of my collection, I had to name him. I've named him Tony T800. I know, kind of corny, but he's Tony. So what do you think, guys? Pretty awesome, hey? Post your comments down below. I want to know what you think about this piece. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer version 1 or version 2? So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And also, subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be doing a video of my entire Terminator collection pretty soon. Also, hit the notification bell so that YouTube lets you know whenever I make a new video, so you don't miss out. Also, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, KalElSoups808. I'm posting pretty regularly there these days, so if you want to be a part of it there, feel free.
And I'm probably going to do another video of the T800 life size without my voice, just some music so you don't have to listen to me drone on. So that being said guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time.